Hello fellow Knobbheads and Beat people. I'm George, the Gentleman Rocker, and yeah, welcome to the vlog. So, I've right now finished writing and cutting Modular Monday number 5, and yeah, I had one thing to share and I have to change it up, as I always do when I do the vlog. Boom! We were at 127. We're at 131. So, if my math isn't failing me, that's 4 new subscribers. Welcome. And yeah, as I said, I just did Modular Monday. Excuse me. And I'm a little bit sick. Let me get a little bit further away from you. I did a little jam and I will probably drop a minute of that right here and that you will see in the next Modular Monday. So here's a sneak peek. Yeah, as you can see, I've put the hard disk into my new rack. So right now I have, let me get you closer. I've got the variegate, then the plats that I did hands-on on, which will be done when this video goes online, so you can watch all 17 episodes. And yeah, I've now put the hard disk into the case. Let me switch the display that I can see you. And as you can see, let me move up here. I've put the peak here just to try some things out. Basically what I've done is I sent MIDI from my key step. Let me get some light. Nice! To the peak and via CV to the hard disk. So when I put the peak down, you get the hard disk. And if I put that down and the peak up, you get that. But the nice thing is we can play them together. And what I'm trying to do or trying to find out is if there's a way. I've put it down, and if I play a chord which makes sense with the peak and not really with the hard disk, right now it's playing the last note that I press, which is not always the note I want it to play. And I need to take a look if there's a way to always send the lowest note via control voltage. This way I can play a chord and have the hard disk play the low note and the peak play the 3 or 4 notes that I'm playing. That's what I'm looking for or into right now. Yeah, my idea is to have the hardest play, as I said, the root note, maybe tuned down 1 octave. Yeah. And another idea is to have the hardest play something like a PVM, a lead synthesizer kind of thing, which has a lot of movement in it, as I have some LFOs to plug in. Should be nice. And have some patch that uses the arpeggiator on the peak. So this way I can play one chord and trigger an arpeggiator and the root note. And what I did in the jam that I have shown you, is I plugged the CV out to, let me see where it is, to one of these guys here, which is basically a passive splitter, which takes one in and can distribute it to 5 outs, 3 on this side, 2 here. And I used that to distribute the control voltage to the hardest and the plats while I was playing the hardest. The CV changed the note of the plats, which was triggered from the varigate. So I used the varigate in its 4 trigger out mode, 4 gate out. And yeah, I triggered kick, snare and hi-hat with the first 3 trigger sequencer lines, and then triggered the plats with the 4s. So this way I had this pulsing rhythm behind the kind of boring, not even chord, but note progression, which was something like that. Which is not that exciting, but with the right sounds and some detuned sounds, and I used plats in its inharmonic string model, which emulates some kind of string that it's played and has a nice distortion, which sounds a little bit like an emulation of an electronic guitar. So it had this synthesized but kind of guitar played feel to it. And I want to expand that with playing a chord or a chord progression and have the lowest note play the hardest and the plats, and then have the peak add a chord under it. This way I can use one keyboard to play a really nice backing. And if I add, let me see, where do I have it? One moment. The expressive E to it, which has 4 CV outs that I use. I don't want to use the MIDI outs. So I want to have these 4 CVs change maybe the distortion on the plats, or I don't know, the filter of the hardest, stuff like that, so that I can interact a little bit more with the sounds. So that's what I'm looking for. I want to have a setup that kind of works with me playing on the keys. Nice distortion. yeah, that's what I'm looking into right now. Excuse me, as I said, I'm kind of baffled. This may be cut together and something feel kind of, as I said, I'm a little bit sick. I will probably start working on some songs that I made in February in live streams next week or the week after. So I will announce that in a vlog, so it will not be next week, but the week after or a week later. And yeah, that's what's going on here. Right now it's all a little bit slowed down because of the holidays. Let me put you down. And yeah, here I am. Rock me like a hurricane. It's wonderful weather out there. Maybe I will go out and try some stuff if I cut this fast. So people of the internet, I see you in the next video. Bye.